Welcome everyone, welcome to our channel Perky Amigos. So, how do you want to choose your universities when you come to United States? By the beauties? By the fascinating infrastructures? By the locations? By the fancy, the places where they're located are animals? Animals? I don't know. So I think I have a solution for that. So let's just dig in how the PhD students choose universities in United States for their higher studies. And at the end of the video, I'll add a bit portion for the master students. So if you want to know how the PhD student, they're gonna choose their universities in United States, just stay tuned. Okay, so I have quick 10 points for how you're gonna choose your PhD universities. So the first thing is that I stress a lot because people get moved by this point. Do not be allured by the university rankings and the beauty. I don't think they have any comparison side by side, but I did make it one point because when we are a student in India, we get allured by, we see the different websites for getting the rankings of the US universities, and we always try to get into the top universities which are ranked maybe in top 50, top, some are obsessed with top 5, top 10. Don't go by that, because for a PhD student, I think that can be very fascinating and risky and maybe also misleading sometimes. Why I say that? Because for master students, if you're going for universities according to their rank, maybe you have a chance that you can say that, okay, I got to study somewhere which is like a very high-end universities in United States. But trust me, like after moving back to US, I realized one thing very, very strongly, that in United States, university doesn't matter that what is their rank. Why I say that? Because sometimes a low rank university may have funding, and sometimes a high end university may not have funding and open spaces for international students. So don't go by the rankings that you see. Though I know that when in my initial days I used to search a lot for the rankings, like what are the rankings of the universities, which university should I apply, all that in vain. Trust me, because for PhD that doesn't work that way. Not that way, never. So choose wisely, choose precisely. The first thing that you need to understand, that in United States, no matter whatever rank of your university it is, if the work is good, if the research work is good, because PhD it means research, if a research work is good and the environment is good, the place is good, every other criteria falls in a good kind of category, then you are good to go in that university. You should always try for options where it is easy to pierce in, easy to carry on a good research, easy to be accepted by that university. So yes, so okay, so now coming to my second point will be, understand your area of research. Yes, that's very, very, very important. Why I stress on that? Because you need to understand the places where you are applying to, the universities where you are applying to. Does it have the field of interest that matches to yours? Suppose I will say suppose I have a background of, I did my graduation in subject A and I did my master's in subject B, that both are different, and I want to carry my PhD in a subject that is not related to A or B. I have very, very little chance of getting accepted by that universities. So always remember, you try to figure out what is your area of interest. If your area of interest matches to the area of work that is being carried out in the department, in the particular department of that university, then maybe the professor is interested to collaborate with you or work with you. So it just, you know, it just expands the chances of getting accepted in those universities. The third thing that you need to concentrate while you are choosing an university is search for university based on your scores. Yes. So as an international students, we know that we need 2 exams very precisely to be given for coming to United States. One is your GRE exam, that is your graduate record examinations, and the second one is your TOEFL or your IELTS. So it's fine if you're giving TOEFL or IELTS, because I think other than the high-end universities in here in United States like Harvard and Stanford, I think few are there who do not accept IELTS scores. They only need TOEFL. Other than that, there are almost, I would say, more than 95% of universities in the United States that accept IELTS scores as your English proficiency test exams. And if you're coming for suppose a subject of yours is very specialized and it needs to be given a subject test of GRE, then I would recommend go for that. And I will be soon doing a separate video for like what are the tests you'll be giving to come to United States, or I think SOUVIK will carry that portion because he is more prompt in that. So yes, based on your scores. Suppose you have a GRE score of 310 and you want to apply to a university which has a minimum GRE requirement of 315. So I don't think you don't have that much chance of getting accepted to that university. Like suppose you are in 310, search for universities that accept at least 305. Maybe that's a safe zone, because always try to get into those universities which have a requirement which is less than your score, not higher than yours. In that way you are not going to get into those universities. But yeah, as I say, there are exceptions. If your score is less but you get accepted by any professor or anything, and in that year the particular university the competition is less, then maybe you have a chance of getting into that university. But that is something we don't know, because in US the universities, they scrutinize the applications in a very holistic approach. So it is not based on only one factor. So you have to be excellent in all your factors. Yeah. Okay, so now coming to my fourth point is check the admission guidelines, mostly the international ones. Why I say that? Because you know, when you search for a particular university and you go to the web page, you can see in the bars there will be something called admissions. When you go inside the admissions, do check for the international admission guidelines, because they have sometimes special requirement for international students. Maybe they require only TOEFL, maybe they require TOEFL and IELTS both, like either of them. So maybe they have a particular score that they need for TOEFL or IELTS and GRE. So maybe some universities, they accept you with a GPA of maybe 3, some do not accept with below 3, so, or some accept with below 3. So there are different criteria. So I would suggest when you are choosing an university, go to the guidelines, read the international guidelines very, very precisely. Sometimes they require the transcripts after your admission, like after you have been accepted. Sometimes they require transcripts just along with the application. So there are various kinds of guidelines. So each university has its own way of its graduate policies and its guidelines. So better do check with them before you apply or decide to apply in any particular university. Okay, so now coming to my fifth point, scrutiny of the desired department and the ongoing projects. Yes, so if you are interested in a particular department, of course you must have your field of interest. So if you're interested in a particular department, go search for the faculty lists and see what are the kinds of research they are doing, what are the kind of projects that have been done in the past, and what are the current projects. That will give you an insightness of what kind of research work is carried over there, so you can have a brief idea of the potentiality of that university. So in that way, if you are choosing that university, it may be a safe decision for you. But if you don't know what kind of research is going on in that university, or maybe a fewer research is done, or maybe a incredibly vast research is going on in that university, so that may hamper you in a good or bad way, both. And see what kind of papers they are getting published. So I would say for getting PhD in United States is a very long journey, so you have to do a hell lot of research. Yeah, I say that because I know what I have gone through. So it has been a lot and lots of research. So be patient, because that is the only thing that will carry you to US, because you need to be very patient, because the process is so long and so hectic that sometimes there are days when I felt that I can't do it anymore. I just can't, it's so hectic and so tedious. The process is so tedious. I thought I give up. But then, yeah, of course, so SOUVIK was with me, and he always, also my family, his family, so there were lots of people around us who were constantly supporting us that no, don't give up, you can do it. And also our inner forces, they said, something inside that said that no, don't give up. So yes, that's why we're here. Oh my god, I have paper. Okay, so that's for your number 5. Number 6, contact the admission coordinator or director. Suppose you have finalized an university, you have finalized the professors, or maybe you are on a rotation kind of thing, anything. So you suppose a university is in your final list. I would suggest go to the department coordinator, graduate coordinator, department head, their maybe director kind of thing. So go to them, reach out to them. Their email address and their contact info is always there on the websites of every university. If you get contact details of any of these persons or all of these, do send them a mail, ask them about any query you have. Suppose you have a query in you about a particular topic, or about a particular requirement or eligibility criteria, or anything, or your credentials, anything, just ask to them. Do not rely on what people are saying, what your friends are saying, or do not go for that. Or you have any contacts in that university, don't go for that. Why I say this? Because the people who are already present in that university, they may help you or they may guide you a lot. I vouch on that. But the some things are called the policies, they are termed to be changed. They vary. So they are they sometimes modify the policies according to different semesters, according to different years. So I would say that to know the exact point, to know the exact solutions for your queries, do email them and ask them. So if also sometimes you can do, if you are selecting an university and you are not sure that you are eligible for it or not, you do ask them with your particular query. Write to them everything what you have to say and ask, and see if they say that you are fine to go, you can apply ahead, go ahead and apply in our department, you're good to go. So it's sometimes, I think most of the time it helps a lot, so go for that. So coming to my point 7 is ask the process of application. Yes, sometimes in various universities I have seen through that the process of application is not much clear. So in that case, you can give them a mail and ask them about what are the things that are not clarified, or what are the things that you need to be more clear on it. So I would say that you should be knowing what is the process of application, what are the steps you need, first what, second what, third what you are going. Suppose sometimes they say that along with the application form you are going to send the transcripts. Some universities say you send the applications and you are given a particular date and you have to send your transcripts by that date. Some universities said, you just send the application, if you're accepted, we'll reach out to you and we'll ask for the official transcript. So there are various universities and guidelines and policies are different. So do ask for the application process. And I think one thing you need to remember is some universities, they ask for research proposal along with your statement of purpose. What are these? I'll make a separate video on these topics because these are very essential. These are like this is your application package, you know. This is your application package, your application form, your LORs, the letters of recommendations from your professors, your statement of purpose, your that's your SOP, your research proposals, your transcripts, your certificates, your curriculum vitae, your CV, your resume. So there are like various things, that whole bunch of a thing that makes your application package. Yeah, so always ask for the process of application. I always encourage to maintain a diary, a separate notebook or a diary, when you write each of the universities, write their guidelines or make a printout, write the paste the print, like the web page of that or something, or maybe you can write it your thing, because see, today also I write everything in my notebook, so I am very classic in that way. So I prefer writing, so you can write it down and you can write the process of application. Yes, did I rewrite it? Okay, I'll come to that point later. Okay, now coming to my 8th point is email the professors or directly apply. This is a very, I think this is one of the most crucial steps for PhD students, because in masters, if there's a vacancy in the university, you'll get an admit, but in PhD it doesn't happen like that, sweetie. So yeah, in PhD student, like you have to apply. Like some universities, they say that you need to be accepted by any advisor, like by any faculty who is ready to be your advisor or your PI. So if you are getting accepted by any professor who is saying, oh, I like your work, it is very similar to my work also, and we can collaborate or we can work together, I'm ready to guide you as a PhD mentor. So in that way you can mention that thing in the application package, that oh, this professor, I got this professor and he's willing to work with me. So in that way, I think that gives some more weightage in your application package and your chance of getting accepted and getting an admit. So, and some university, they said that no, you can't, you need to be like applying us directly, and then we will, like, if any faculty is vacant or something, we'll like assign you some mentor. So that happens both ways. You need to check the application process and any special instruction that says that you need to contact the faculty before or after. And some universities, they say that they don't assign you a mentor after you are accepted in that university or getting an admit. They put you on lab rotations. Lab rotations is something where you go to each lab, like 3 or 4 labs, you work in different labs, and then if you are comfortable in a particular lab and that particular professor is of that lab is also comfortable to work with you, you have a chance to get him as your mentor. So it works that way. Number 9 is carefully read what's the application package. Yes, that is what I said before, I think. So always note down what includes in the application package, what are the things they are required, and what are the things they are required at what point of time. That is very important. So how do you send your scores? Do they want official scores like along with the application, or they just want your scores and a PDF form of it, like you can attach the file, and if you're accepted then you are going to send the official scores, or they have a particular date by which you are going to send the application scores, your examination scores, and how. So these things, they are like very tiny things, but they are very hectic things. So you need to be prepared for that and make a note of each and every point. Okay, so coming to my 10th and the final point is apply before deadlines and check your mails regularly. Why I say that? Because in universities in US, they have like 2 kinds of deadlines. One is your priority deadlines and one is your usual deadlines. The priority deadlines is for the PhD people who wants funding. Of course, if you have enough money with you, then you can come obviously with your own money, but if you don't, like most of the students, they require a funding for the PhD students. So I would say that apply before the priority deadlines end, because priority deadlines is meant for the like first come first serve basis. So if you have applied very earlier, you have a much higher, and your application package is also a decent one, is a good one, so you have a pretty good chance of getting good funding. But you are applying after the priority deadline and between the usual deadline, before the usual deadline. So if you are applying between this period, then you have a I will say a very minimal chance of getting a funding. And yeah, you may or may not get an admit, and you may or may not get a funding. But if you're applying before the priority deadlines, you have a pretty higher chance of getting assistantships or fundings or scholarships. Yep, it works that way. And after you have like started applying to colleges, to universities, to schools over here, do check your emails regularly, because the information that they are going to send or they are going to communicate with you is going to be through emails. So do have a very important note in your mind that you are going to check your emails regularly, because that is very, very helpful. You may missed some points, they may be asking for some things, or they may have answered your queries, or they may have given you any application coupons or your waivers. So yeah, it works in all the way. So I think I have covered all the points that are required for PhD admissions. For masters, it is very simple. Like, you have your application package, the same thing goes like the PhD, but the only thing is, if your university has a vacancy for taking a new student or international student and your application package is good, you have enough funding, you have enough money with you, and if you're not getting a funding or any scholarship, you have a chance of getting into that university if it falls in along with all your criteria, like your scores and everything. So life is much easier for a master student to get admitted in United States, but for PhD students, it's like, oh my god. Yes. So yes, for PhD student, if you really want to come for fall 2020 or maybe 21 or spring, anything, like, you have very less time in your hand, pack your bags. No, I don't mean like pack your like luggage or anything. It means like pack your bags for getting ready to apply to those universities and start preparing for the exams. Yes, so that's all for today. I will catch you. Oh my god, it's like 22 minutes. Okay, fine. It's like too long. The video is too long. Okay, but I think the informations are very required for PhD. So yes, do watch my videos, do wait for every weekend. I know this time I've been late uploading the video after the weekend, so next time I won't be late, I hope so. So do subscribe, do like, do comment. If you have any queries, any suggestions, any questions, feel free to comment below the videos. And yes, share as much as you can to all your aspiring students, friends who wants to come to abroad for PhD. And yes, be park here and be our amigos for life. See you in my next video. Ta-da.